Hi everyone, I'm Rachel and this is my beautiful boat Ngaroto. I've done a heap of work to the boat and for the past 2 months we haven't had access to our boats while the Marina upgrades the pier. Unfortunately, my boat was damaged by the Marina when they moved it and they accept no liability. I've requested clarity on who is responsible for the works carried out, the Marina or a contractor, and whether they hold liability insurance. And despite following up multiple times, I'm now being ignored. Due to my boat being over 40 years old, there have been recent changes in the insurance market. Most insurers no longer offer full coverage policies, or they'll only provide third-party insurance, usually requiring an out-of-water inspection certificate. So this is the type of policy I hold. These recent changes only apply to new policies. While the berth agreement states that the Marina isn't liable for any damage, Citizens Advice Bureau advises that this only applies if they haven't been found negligent, and I have the option of paying to take the matter to a disputes tribunal. It's been a really stressful experience, especially given the dismissive and rude approach from the Marina. The pier was briefly reopened again, so we took the opportunity to turn the boat around in the berth and cover the damaged area. After sitting unattended for a while, and with all the wet weather we've had, the boat ended up covered in what I can only assume is some kind of green moss or algae. I take a trip to Bunnings to figure out the best way to remove it quickly, and ended up settling on a 30-second style product that's specifically made to target this kind of growth. With nothing but rain in the forecast, I throw on Jason's work waterproofs and head down to the boat. I adjust all of the lines to get on board. I do have some new berth lines, but I'm hesitant to add them right now since I've been moved into a berth that I'm not usually in, and I suspect I'll be moved again soon. My homemade rain hatch cover has blown off, so I'm expecting there'll be a little bit of water to clean up. But no, everything is dry and there's no water in the bilge. I then spend some time centering the boat in the berth and adjust the lines to help it sit more evenly. As always, I do a quick check, running the engine, switching on the electrics and water. Then I head outside to let the glow plug warm up before giving it a bit of throttle to start, which seems to be its preferred method, and finally easing it back to neutral. I also notice some coolant in the engine bay and I'll have to have a look at that. I switched the engine off in an unconventional but efficient way, since the previous setup with a rope never worked properly. If you have any cost-effective suggestions for shutting it down from the cockpit, please let me know. As you can tell from my face, the boat was pretty grubby. And then the next 3 hours were spent scrubbing growth off of most of the fittings on the boat in the rain. Realising that I'd left the keys on the outside of the boat, whoops. Then, upon discovering that the water had been plumbed up to the new pier, I went back and re-scrubbed everything with a larger brush. Since we'll be racing later in the video, I also gave the hull a quick scrub as best I could. Milford Cruising Club, which is separate from the Marina, is a friendly and social group that holds regular, not too serious races. Since we hadn't taken the boat out in a while, I asked if they'd mind me tagging along behind the fleet to get some experience in following a course. With barely any wind when we left the Marina, Jason and I spent some time playing around with the sails, while others motored past us to the start line. The course map had been sent to me the night before, so we had a rough idea of where we were heading. We tacked our way towards the start line, keeping a good distance behind the fleet to make sure we didn't get in anyone's way. With channel 77 counting down to the start, we realised we may have held back a little too far. With only 30 seconds to go and quite a bit of distance still between us, we get going. But not for long. Just as the countdown ended, the wind completely dropped. But it was awesome just watching, people changing their sails, adjusting their tactics, and generally just enjoying themselves. We eventually make it to the first marker, and my first time ever rounding one. Things started to get a bit more sporty after that, and Jason bravely dashes around the boat making adjustments. My footage doesn't quite do it justice, but at times the boat really got some good heel on. We worked hard to keep it from rounding up, grateful that the furler fix held strong. With that, we set our sights on the next marker and focused on trying to close the gap with the rest of the pack. Because of the tidal restrictions on re-entering the marina, and since we started quite a way behind the others, we decided to cut the course short to allow enough time to get back in. It's an awesome experience with some lovely people. I don't think I'll ever be a full-on racer. I much prefer cruising and exploring, but I really enjoyed doing it on my own boat, and it was a fun social event, as we all headed up to the club for a barbecue afterwards. Tune in next time, where hopefully we'll get the repairs done, even if we do end up doing them ourselves, and spending a bit more time out on the water learning.